Welcome to Pera's Playbook. This is your host, Alex Pera. Let's open up our playbook and see who our guest is. Please enjoy. Welcome to episode 156 of Pera's Playbook. Today we're joined by David Gabriel. He plays Division I basketball for Seton Hall. How's it going?
Everything is good. How about yourself?
I can't complain. Like we were talking off camera, we got a little bit of teaser for spring up here, but it's still almost here. I'm telling you, I'm ready for summer. Like, I'm sick of winter.
Yeah, so am I. I'm tired of this cold weather.
Yeah. I want to be able to go to the beach. I want to be able to hoop outside, play golf, tennis, and do outside stuff and not have to put a jacket on and have bonfire, do whatever.
Absolutely, especially you in Michigan. That's something way different than over here. So I could
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, let's start kind of like back in your high school career. We'll talk recruiting a little bit. Talk about one game against Hudson Catholic. I mean, I don't know anything about New Jersey basketball, but I know here in Michigan, all of the private schools, the Catholic schools, Lutheran schools, all that, they're always tough to beat. They're always really good teams. I'm assuming it's the same in most states. They're recruiting. So any school that has Catholic in the name or Lutheran in the name, I mean, they're a tough program. And you had a big game against Hudson Catholic, 25 points, 5 threes. So, let's just talk about, I mean, obviously when you get in a rhythm, and I guess some people who don't play sports, maybe they don't understand, but when you're just feeling it, you'll just let it fly, knowing it's going to go in.
Just get into that flow state.
Yeah.
It just happens. Yeah. That was a great game. That's a game that gets brought up a lot, even now that I'm in college. I'm not sure how many people have seen it or by any chance have been there or anything like that, like at the game. But a lot of people that are from New Jersey, they like to ask me about that game, and it was crazy because we were a public school. North Bergen High School is a public school, so anytime you get a chance to play against a private school, it's something you want to make a statement in. And honestly, believe it or not, we did not win that game. So a lot of people think we won that game, but it's a game that gets brought up because it was one of my better performances in high school. Like you said, 25 threes. I remember I was just, from the first shot I took, it was just money. And ever since then, every look I got, I was getting it up. And then, it was a great game. Went to triple overtime. We did not get the result that we wanted, but it was definitely a statement because, we weren't going to be easily beaten, especially at Hudson Catholic. We wanted to make a big statement on the road. So it was one of the better games of my high school career. And looking back at it, those were really just great times in my life. A lot of fun in high school. So,
Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you said, not the result you wanted, but personally, you can feel good about it because you had a good game. I mean, you were feeling it.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to win, but it's kind of like a double-edged sword, right? You feel good because you had a good game, but then you guys lost, so it's it kind of cancels out. But I mean, any game you hit 5 threes, you're obviously feeling it, and it's not easy to do, especially against a private school. I mean, here in Michigan, I'm in the UP, so I'm in the Upper Peninsula, and when we get schools that go downstate in the playoffs, it's really tough to win a state championship because you make it downstate and you end up playing a private school. A few years ago, best team up here, they had one guy who's playing D1 now, and they had a couple other people that played D2 for other sports, and they made it downstate. I mean, they were probably the best team that the Upper Peninsula had seen in a long time. And then they met up with some team that all 5 starters were going D1. And I mean, they just cooked them, and it's just hard to compete against that.
Yeah, it definitely is tougher to compete, But the good thing about those games is that it gives kids who are, under, not really highly recruited or less popular. It gives kids like that a chance to shine because there's usually a lot of people in attendance to watch them. And that was the case with this Hudson Catholic game. I remember there was a lot of college coaches in attendance. I think actually my head coach and my assistant coach were at that game. Small world, uh, and Rick Pitino was at that game. It was like a lot of great coaches at the game, there to recruit other guys, of course, but that's what made it so much sweeter to, go out there and have a great performance. I mean, any guy who was in my shoes uh, in that day, like in that time, to try to like go out there and have the mindset that I had was just, you know, forget everything else. Like I'm gonna go out there and have a great game.
Right. And then
Yeah,
once in a while, the public school does win. Like, I mean, it
yeah,
happens, and
it
then
happens.
it feels good, obviously, when you beat a
Mhm.
private school full of guys that were recruited. It makes it that much better. But yeah, I mean, the exposure is really awesome, and that's a good segue into like kind of recruiting. Like, did you have schools reaching out to you much? I mean, I know you ended up being a walk on here at Seton Hall,
Yeah.
but like before that, were you talking to schools even D2 or D3?
Yeah, yeah, definitely a couple, D3 interests, D2s, but and a few people trying to get me to go JUCO, and honestly, uh, I just, I wanted something a little bit more for myself. I was willing to go, another route and bet on myself and go as hard as I could at the Division 1 level, and eventually, uh, thank God, I was able to end up at Seton Hall, which is a school I love. I love this place. I've been here all 3 years so far, and it's not far from home. It's close to home. So honestly, it was the best thing that could have happened to me, in my opinion. I loved it, and I still love it to this day. So yeah, I did have some some recognition from some coaches at other levels, but nothing I was really trying to do. So
Right. And obviously, it's different for everybody, right? Some people they might just be happy going to play D2 and like that's good for
yeah,
them and
yeah, it
they're
is.
cool with it, right? And other people like you said you want a little bit more. You want to test yourself. You want to see how high you can play. You want to go as high as possible. And and Seton Hall, I mean, it's a basketball school. It's in a basketball conference. I mean, Big East, that's good ball. I heard some guys talking, and I don't know. You listen to sportscasters, and half of the time I disagree with them, but they were saying, oh, the Big East, they're down this year. But if you look at it, it's a smaller conference, right? There's only
Mhm.
what, nine or 10 teams in the conference, which is a small conference compared to looking at like the SEC where they got 17 teams or whatever, and half of the teams make the tournament. Like to me, that's not a bad conference. And the other thing is when you look at a conference like the Big East, even teams that are having a down year, like anyone can win on any given night, right? Like
Yeah.
you just got to show up to play because you don't know who's going to show up. I mean, it's D1 basketball. It's a good conference. Anyone can pop off a win, even if you're having a tough stretch. Um, and I think like you guys were kind of an example of that, right? You didn't have the year you wanted, but you beat UConn in overtime, a
Yeah.
tournament team that almost beat Florida. You guys beat them in overtime, and you guys had a lot of other close games. So I think that speaks to the level of competition that you get in a conference like that.
Yeah, I think that's the beauty of college basketball. You could just anybody can beat anybody on any night. So, back to us beating UConn, like not only we beat them this year, we beat them the last, 2 years before that. My like I haven't lost to UConn at home since I've been here. So um it's definitely, a great conference. There's just so much talent. Uh hold on one second. I don't know why because I'm doing this on my iPad. I don't know why I just got a notification. I don't want that. Let me fix this real quick.
Okay,
All
you're
right.
good.
Yeah, I just had to mute that. But yeah, it's just such a beautiful conference. Like, there's so much talent, there's so much skill. So, yeah, there's a bunch of surprises, and uh, last year the Big East was great too. It was, I think, the best conference in college basketball for sure. Actually, somehow only 3 teams made the tournament last year. I think it should have been more, and I think we should have been in it. But this year we were a great conference as well. It was just a tougher year for us, but it just shows how good the conference is. The Big East is a really tough conference. Nothing like it. Yeah,
Yeah, for sure. And
yeah,
what do the analysts know, right? They've been talking about both the SEC is the greatest conference ever this year, and like their teams aren't doing that well in the tournament, honestly. Like a lot of
mm,
them lost in the first round. So you talk about how awesome this conference was. Like it's really you can't. I feel like in a way you can't say like, well, this conference is totally better than that conference. And I mean, they're all Power Five conferences. They're all really good, and in the end, the Big East had the national champion the last 2 years. Right, UConn won the national championship.
right.
So the Big East produced a national championship, team. You guys beat them in the regular season. Other teams, managed to pull off a few wins, and so that's a good conference. Who's producing the national champion? You guys won the NIT last
Yeah,
year. Like you didn't make the tournament, but then you went
hmm
on this run and you won the NIT. So I
yeah,
mean, that's a good conference. Obviously, you're getting trophies.
yeah. Again, trophies and competing. Every environment in the Big East is great. There's nothing like it as well. It's like you know, one night you're at UConn and Stores, Connecticut, and the next day you're at Xavier in Cincinnati, Ohio, at Cintas Center. It's like every environment in the Big East is, that's what you play college basketball for. You want to experience that. Um, I love it. I love it.
And every
Yeah,
program in the Big East has the same expectation every year. Like we're gonna make the tournament. That's the goal for all these
yeah,
programs, right? I mean, you look at some smaller conferences, and obviously everybody wants to win, but there's got to be some teams that just know they're not going to make it. I mean, you're going to do your best, you're going to try your
mhm,
hardest, but you just don't have. But like when you're in these conferences, these true basketball conferences with ball schools, you just that's the goal, that's the expectation every year, and it doesn't matter. Like you guys had a down year this year, you're gonna obviously grind. You're gonna hit
mhm.
the portal. Your coaches are gonna look for new additions. Everyone's gonna work hard, and next year the goal is gonna be the same thing it always is. It's gonna be let's get back to the
Yeah,
tournament.
yeah. Next year, I'm really looking forward to it because obviously this year was a really tough one, but um, yeah, but especially with the transfer portal nowadays, it's like it's hard to build things long term. Um, so really need to go extra hard in recruiting. Last year we were kind of set behind because our season lasted so long, going all the way till April because of the NIT. Um, so yeah, I'm really looking forward to next year because definitely want to have a great year. I want to finish out my senior year on a really high note. Um, really want to make that tournament. I want to know what it feels like. So that'll be awesome. We're looking forward to it. And I know our coaching staff, they work hard. So like they're already on it. Like full, they're already probably going harder than they were going this season. They're already going hard right now. So uh, I know we'll be in good hands for next year.
Yeah, job of a
Yeah,
coach never ends, right? I mean,
yeah,
you coach during the
insane.
season, and then you got sleepless nights looking for recruits traveling all over, scouting. I mean,
Yeah,
it,
it's definitely a job that you got to be built for it. Yeah, you got to be really
yeah,
built for it. Our staff is built for it though. So
yeah, you got to be
mm,
passionate. You got to
yeah,
you got to really love basketball. You got to really love coaching, and I feel like people don't
hmm
get that, right? I mean, like people don't understand that. Obviously, like you can see it because you're around the program. You see
hmm
how hard your coaches work for you. But like some guy sitting on his couch watching college basketball, he probably doesn't get it.
yeah. He thinks it's just five guys hooping against five guys out there, and
You
whatever happens, happens. Nah, like
yeah,
the coaching on the sideline is definitely a huge part of it. Huge
yeah,
part of it. Yeah.
for sure, for sure. Um, so let's talk a little bit. Like, what are your favorite moments of college so far? I'm assuming the NIT run it would be one of them, but what are some just moments that stick out to you? Basketball, and it could be non-basketball too. Just being in college and
Yeah.
making some memories.
Yeah. So I think there's a few. I think I'll probably go in order because I think my first one was probably my first college game. It was uh it was against Monmouth at home. So just being in an environment, because in high school, I didn't really play in no arena ever before, unless, the only time you play in an arena if you made it to like a state championship or something, which I didn't. So coming out the tunnel on uh, that day in November, my freshman year was awesome. Like that's a moment like I'll never forget. Just because we came out, we got a great win, and I got some playing time, and just the environment was great. Um, then probably second big moment I remember that off season going freshman to sophomore year. There was a couple guys here in the gym just hooping, a couple NBA players, and I got to play against like some guys that I really looked up to growing up. One of them was Kyrie Irving, being able to play, just play basketball with him and guard him. It was definitely a cool moment. Like I'd be lying if I said that wasn't a cool moment because anybody
Yeah.
who knows me, like when I was a kid, I loved Kyrie. I still do. Like had every single pair of Kyries. I have so many. So definitely that's a cool moment. And then uh junior year, of course, that NIT championship run was there was nothing like it. And not only the NIT championship run, uh I would definitely say the win streak we went on in the regular season, that kind of had us thinking that we were solidified as a tournament team. In the moment, I remember we thought like, oh, we're good now. We won like 8 in a row at one point, I think. Knocked off UConn, knocked off Marquette, went to triple overtime against Creighton. I rewatched the game the other day and I was like, damn, like, how did we not win this game? I think the refs really, got us on that one. I don't know. I looked back at it and I was like, man, but yeah, that's definitely a great moment because uh, it was an amazing experience to be winning that many games at such a high level, um, back to back to back to back, just not losing. We had something different about us in that group. That whole group was so special. So collectively, like that whole run with that group of guys was just my favorite thing ever. Honestly, I love those guys, and that was a great group. Eventually, we had that selection Sunday. Didn't go our way. Uh, it was dead silent in the room, but I love the way that we responded. It really showed a lot about how you respond to things, not about how you get hit. But we got back up from that and made the best statement we could ever make is going on a run and winning the entire NIT. So that would definitely be my favorite moment, probably. The ones I said is probably the NIT championship, but yeah,
Yeah.
as of now, until now, NIT is probably number one up there because I did it with a group of guys that I love.
Right. Now you guys just need to grind and make the tournament next year, and that'll move to the
Yeah,
top of the list.
yeah, that'll definitely move to the top of the list. Hopefully, we have a lot more moments that reach that top
Yeah.
of the list. Yeah.
Heck yeah. So Kyrie, like, were you guys just like all playing pickup or?
Yeah, so he's from the area. I think probably my coach probably called him to come work out or something like that, or I'm not sure how, but he was working out here for a few days, uh, just playing pickup. Like he was doing some drills and then he would play pickup, and along with a bunch of other guys that were there too. But it was just it was awesome to just be able to walk into the gym and see Kyrie. Um, and then just be able to like watch him up close and uh, playing some pickup games with him and see what when you see it in person, you see some of these guys are just so skilled. You see them in person, it's something different. It's like there's no
Yeah.
flaws to his game. It feels like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And
yeah. It's
that's
definitely
pretty
awesome.
a pretty cool thing, right? You walk into
Mhm.
your college gym for practice, and then there's some NBA guys, right? They're just hooping it up. They're just, that's your gym, is your team, and they're there, right? Like, they came to your school to do their workout. I mean, yeah, local guy, but that doesn't mean he had to show up. Even if
Yeah,
your coach called him, he didn't have to. He didn't have to come down. I mean, there's a
yeah,
lot of pro athletes that they wouldn't do stuff like that.
yeah. Especially Kyrie. Not only as a player, but seeing how cool of a dude he is it was awesome. He was friendliest dude I ever met. He was so cool. So yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So this is kind of a random question. I asked one other guy this once. He's a freshman at Auburn, and I was like, you know nothing about me, and obviously you're playing at Auburn, and I do a podcast. But like, if we 1v1 to 21, what do you think the score would be? And he was like 21-0, like no shot. I was like, not even give me like 1-3. Like, come on, give me a lucky three. So I'm gonna ask you the same question. You don't know anything about me. You don't know anything about my basketball skill. But if we 1v1 to 21, you give me one shot at least, like 21-3,
The
maybe.
key to what you said is I don't know nothing about you. So you could be the greatest shooter ever, and I don't know. So we'll go 21-3.
All right, cool. I'll take it. I'll take it.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah,
take
yeah.
I'd
Yeah, you'll get a bucket. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's something that I'm trying to get set up on the podcast. Like, I want to do this little series where it's like I like 1v1 guys that play D3, D2, and D1, and like how does a regular guy hold up against a college athlete? Like, if you play 1v1 straight up, like how do you do? Can you keep it close, or do you get cooked? And I feel like you could probably keep it close with a D3 player, depending on the type of player they are, how tall they are, what their game is. D2, obviously a lot tougher. D1, probably get cooked. But it's something, and being way up here in Michigan, there's not a lot of guys that play D1 around. And there's a D2 school right here in town. So like I know I can get that set up at some point. And I graduated the guy. He went and played D3. He played like 80 games over 4 years. He had a solid D3 career. So I think he'll do it. But it's something that I'm looking forward to. I think it'll be fun. I can make some bloopers then. And, when I just throw up an
Yeah.
absolute brick or something. But it's something I'm working on to like just add some bonus content to the pod.
I think that's a great idea, honestly. Like that definitely get some views. That's definitely what people want to watch. And then also, did you play basketball growing up or
So like I played growing up, like elementary school. I went to all the camps, and like I went to the college camp and like all that stuff. But then like I didn't play. I was the new kid. I switched schools in middle school, and I had
Mhm.
like no interest in playing because I was the new kid. And I also went to a big school. Like our seventh and eighth grade teams will have 25 kids each, and so like trying to rotate that many players. I mean,
Mm.
most kid gets a couple minutes of playing time. And then by the time I got to high school, just wasn't a big fan of the way the guy coached. So I didn't. Like, I never stopped playing, but I
Mm.
didn't play high school ball. Like when I got to college, I had IM teams. We played IM. Um, won won the co-rec B championship. So got my T-shirt. I was happy about that. But yeah, so like I played basketball without playing basketball, if that makes sense.
I mean, with your idea, then I think you could, at the end of the day, it's just basketball. So you'll
Right.
definitely have, some good games where you could make it real competitive. Definitely, it's just basketball. Yeah,
Right.
and
Yeah.
if you go
No, I
hard, you
mean,
go hard. You've been playing pickup. Yeah, it's just
yeah.
basketball. You'll be able to play. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I lived in a town that had a community college, and you could just go shoot hoops at the gym, and the players would just be there. And I beat one of those, I beat one of those guys once, junior college ball. I beat him one game, so he but I was, we they would come, we'd be running fives, multiple games in the gym, and most of us were just guys that played in high school or just played for fun. And you could hold up against, I mean, those guys. And like you said, it's pickup. You hit a lucky shot, a couple lucky shots. I Most D1 basketball players, I probably can't guard, but like I said, 21-3, I would take the three. I'd take one. If I scored on a D1 player, that's cool. I'm good with that. That's okay. So we'll see if I can get that set up. But yeah, I think it'd be fun. And yeah, some bonus content. I want to do it with other sports too,
Mm.
like not just basketball. Like go to the football field and get one of the kickers from the football team, and like let's like teach me how to kick, and like we'll
Mm.
film it, and like people can watch it like a kick tutorial or
I
something.
like
Like,
that.
I don't know. Like, I'm just trying to think of ways to get more viewers and just more interesting, fun content, or I don't know.
I think you should definitely go with that idea. That's some good content. So I think
Yeah.
it'll work for sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's too bad you're in New Jersey. That's everybody I'm
Yeah,
interviewing is like hours away.
yeah.
Auburn. I had a guy who played at Cal Poly. Like, I mean,
Damn.
nobody's flying to California to do a one-on-one pickup game.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's crazy. If you were in Jersey, man, I'd be happy to play you one on one. Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk Portal for a little bit.
All right.
You mentioned it already, and as a fan, I don't know. I'm torn on it. Like there's times where I think like yeah, this is great, and then obviously there's other times where I think a lot of fans say it's ruining the game. Um, so like what's your take on it? What's your take on the portal? Like at its current state right now, like with the rules and regulations they have right now.
So, honestly, I think the portal, one of the biggest things is how tough it, like I think I mentioned it already, like how tough it makes it for a team to build something in the long term. You can't really build, long connections anymore. I mean, like, I've had an insane amount of teammates in the last 3 years, like just coming and going and honestly, it's tough because, you can have a great year like we did last year and then boom, you just feel like everything is just, you know, back to the bottom, back to restarting your work, with a new group of guys. Um, so it definitely makes it tough. You build a lot of relationship with great teammates that you had, and they're no longer your teammates. So that's the first part. But it definitely has some, positives to it on the players end. I think guys, can move around and uh, go where they think they might have a better chance of, showcasing their abilities. But there's another. It's a double-edged sword because at the same time, you got guys always thinking that the grass is greener on the other side, and a lot of the times it isn't. So a lot of guys aren't really grateful with anything because you kind of have that plan B. Like if this doesn't go well, I'm out of here. And I think it was a quote growing up that I was listening to. It was like you can't have a plan B, like not literally, but it's not good to have a plan B because if you got a plan B, it means you're not going 100% on plan A. So I think that could kind of relate to the portal because a lot of guys, I don't know, I don't want to say guys are just not really, playing their best basketball, but guys know that, if things don't go well, I could just, I don't know if the right word to use is quit, but they could just, I could hop out of this and, I could have a whole new situation and forget these guys, I'm somewhere else. So it's tough. It's tough for the game of basketball in general because it's basically like free agency in the college level, at the college level, which is kind of weird. But they're calling these guys, professionals now. Guys are professionals because they're getting paid with all NIL and stuff. Um, so I guess, the free agency thing makes sense. But um, yeah, it's definitely something really tricky to work with,
Yeah,
tricky. Yeah.
for sure. I feel like there's less of we had a bad year. We're gonna grind. We're just gonna work hard, and we're gonna get this team better, right? Like some guys, they have a bad year, and they're like, "I'm out of here. I'm going to a different school." And like so, I'm a big Notre Dame fan. I've always been a diehard Notre Dame fan. Notre Dame men's basketball has been on the down for years. Like we made the tournament. They made the tournament 2022 but exit in the second round. And they hadn't made a run like 2015. They made a Sweet 16 run, but I mean that's 10 years ago. So like we're it's on the down. We got Micah Shrewsbury from Penn State. I think he's a great coach. I like what he brings. And this year was a tough season. Um, I think a lot of people had higher expectations than what happened, but you know, there's some good talent. Marcus Burton, and then Tay Davis, guy that transferred from Seton
My,
Hall.
my boy, yeah, my freshman
Mm-hmm.
year. It's my
And
guy.
then he just hopped in the portal. Just
Yeah.
hopped in the portal the other day, which obviously
Snap.
he's got a reason for it and whatever he thinks is best. But I was like, man, that's a bummer for the team because he's really good. I mean, he's really grown as a player. This year he
Hmm.
was averaging 15 and he really like stepped into that lead role. And I was thinking if we can keep Davis and we can keep Burton, we're getting a top 20 recruit in. Like, man, we're gonna have a nice team next year. Like this is sweet. And then he hopped in the portal for whatever reason. No shade to him. You got to do what's best for your game. But like as a fan, it's like right when you think like, okay, this team's gonna make a turn, boom, some guy hops in the portal. But I guess the other way too, Michigan won 8 games last year, and now they're going to the Sweet 16 because they got Dusty May as a head coach, and he brought in a guys from the portal. Louisville won like 16 games in 2 years. They got a new coach. He brought in a bunch of guys from the portal, and they made the tournament. So, like, I mean, I'm sure those fans are happy.
Yeah, it's tough, especially you got you know so much talent and fan bases grow so much love for their team. It's like it's a heartbreaker. Sometimes you lose your guy, so I
Yeah,
definitely think yeah, it's definitely something tough to deal with. It's the portal. I feel like I would love to be a part of the college basketball where the portal wasn't like as big as a thing as it is, just to experience what it's like to stay with a group of guys for 4 years, similar to what it is in high school, but at a higher level. So
right.
like I think it would be awesome. I think if like for example, if we had the same group of guys that we had last year and we kept and I had that same team for all 4 years, like the things we would do is incredible. I know that 100%.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. And I mean, like, obviously, you used to still have transfers, right? Guys would grad transfer, right? You played your
Yeah.
years, you had another year eligibility, you grad transfer because you're doing your masters at a different school, and like that's cool. Like you could still bring in some veteran experience, but it's tough now, right? Because you got guys they transfer every single year. Like they're just going place to place for whatever reason, um, and yeah, it's a crazy world, college basketball. Like it's like you said, it's free agency, and you got booster clubs throwing up big NIL money, and yeah, I mean, you can't blame a guy, right? Like if somebody offers
No.
you $8 million, like how do you turn that down?
How do you turn that down, especially at what, 21, 22 years old? How do you turn down a couple $1 million or even
Yeah,
not even if it's not a million, how do you turn down, $700,000? It's like
right. That's life
I
changing
don't know how you
money.
turn that down. Yeah, definitely
Yeah.
is. So yeah,
So it's
it's
hard. Like
crazy.
you can't blame the guys who are doing it. Like that's a tough position to be in, right? You might love your team, but and because there's also I feel like there's definitely behind the scenes tampering, right? Like guys are talking to guys before they enter the portal. Like there's guys that before they enter the portal, they already know where they're going because they've been talking to some coach.
Yeah.
So, and I've heard other coaches call that out. Like in football, I think it was UConn's head coach. He basically was like, nobody better be talking to my players in spring during spring practice. Like we will like pursue this to the NCAA. Like make sure that fines are thrown out and people are punished. You like do not pursue my players.
Yeah, yeah. It's crazy.
Yeah, it's something else,
Wow.
man. It's a different
Wow.
world than it was 10 years ago.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. College basketball is crazy. College
Yeah,
sports in general, like you said, football too. It's tough. Tough right now.
yeah, it is. It is. I feel like it'll change though. Like some for better or for worse, like something's gonna change. Like 'cause I know there's a lot of coaches and that complain about the portal and like the current way that it's being run. So I feel like they've got to change something. Maybe they put a cap on like you can transfer twice. Like you can't transfer every year. You can only transfer twice. Like
That's
or
that's yeah. That's
I don't
one of the,
know.
yeah, I don't mean to cut you off. That's one of the biggest things. Like, there's guys who transferred 3 times, probably 4 times. I don't know, but it's crazy how I think that probably, help out a little bit because, you know, you got guys on 4 different college teams. That's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, in the long term too, like you're gonna see way less jerseys getting retired, way less, way less people getting honored like that because Nobody's name is gonna really hold as much weight to a school as it did a while back. So
Yeah, you're not gonna have those guys. It's like he scored 1,500 points in a Seton Hall jersey. Like he played his
yeah,
whole career there. His jersey's going up in the rafters. Like you're gonna get less and less of that. Like yeah, maybe the
yeah.
guy scored 2,000 points in his career, but he did it at four schools. So like, who takes the glory for that one?
Yeah, yeah,
What rafter do you want to stick him up in?
yeah.
Everyone take a piece of his jersey and throw it up there. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's
pretty much. Pretty much it. Yeah.
yeah. So like this off season, what's your personal plan? Like what's your team plan? Like, I mean, what you guys been doing like to grind and put that work in and hope for a better year next year?
Yeah, since our season ended at the Big East tournament, we've been pretty much, off, but not actually off because, I know I like to, take this time to, you know, be selfish, not like actually be selfish, but be selfish in terms of, focusing on my own goals with my body and my skill set and just really, emphasizing the body part. I always like to take this time knowing that we're not going to be practicing 3 hours a day or 2 hours a day. So, uh, a little bit less cardio, more, bulking up. I'm trying to add some muscle. So I've been in the weight room every day, just eating a way different diet, as much as I can, making these, you know, sh shakes, to try to help me out to get my, calorie going for the day and protein going for the day. So yeah, these days it's been, for example, today, like I'm going to my class. I got two classes, my first one at 11, and my classes are done around 1:45. Uh, head straight to the weight room, get a great lift in. Uh, shower, go back to the room, chill, get homework done, get some schoolwork done. And then later at night, like I like to usually come back and go into one of our gyms and just go on the gun, shooting machine, and shoot, just shoot, till my arms get tired. So yeah, like last night I was in there, probably got, maybe 600 makes, 500 makes, and then went to bed. So I like to, repeat something like that these days. And then I'm pretty sure the team is gonna, get going with the workouts, soon. I'm not exactly sure when, but probably one of these days, or yeah, one of these days soon. We're gonna start working out again, probably. So looking forward to it. I love this time of the year because it's a fresh start and a much needed fresh start. It was a tough season that we got over with. So it's like if that the season felt like it was on for so long and it wasn't, but that's because of how tough it was on us. So it feels great to just feel fresh, like that's the past, and that's part of the game. That's part of basketball. You struggle sometimes, but it's about how you get back at it. The same way last year we got told we weren't in the NCAA tournament and we got back at it. It feels good to respond a certain way. I think Seton Hall is coming with a good response for next year.
Yeah, for sure. Like,
Yeah.
and you got to live in the moment, right? Like you said, the past is in the past. Like when you stay stuck in the past, whether it's 5 minutes ago I missed that shot, or it's months like, hey, we had a bad season, like whatever it is, you got to just stay in the present and look towards the future. If you live in the past, like you just consume yourself, and you also sometimes you don't want to look too far in the future either, right? Like you just stay present, stay grounded, work on today, right? Because like tomorrow's tomorrow. Tomorrow's going to be its own set of problems, and just stay
Yeah.
focused on the goal and the journey, and one step at a time, and anything is possible. Like college basketball, college sports in general. And you can say March Madness is crazy, but like the whole sport is crazy. Like you said, anyone can win on any given night. They'll predict this team's going to be last in the conference, and that team ends up being first in the conference. Like you never know what's going to happen. Doesn't matter what the preseason expectations are. You don't, the experts, the analysts, they don't know how hard you grinded all year. They weren't at your practice every day. They don't know what kind of work you guys were putting in. So, like you said, clean start, clean slate. Last year didn't matter. This past season, that does not matter. You're going to go in next year 0-0. You got a chance to do whatever you guys want, right? Power to you.
Yeah.
It's all in front of you.
Yeah, that's the beauty of college basketball. It's just back at it. Another shot because I want to make the tournament so badly. I know everybody in this program does, so we're going for that. Seton Hall is one of those programs, so we're not out here going to be we're not going to be settling or complaining about situations. People could complain about our situations with our NIL and transfer portal, and at the end of the day, we're not going to make excuses. We're going to go to work and make it happen. Coach Shaw
Yeah.
made it happen at a MAC school, St. Peter. So why not in the Big East,
Right.
right? Yeah,
Yeah,
and the whole
exactly.
staff. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
for sure. Yeah.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, especially starting up workouts with the new group of guys that we're gonna have because obviously we're graduating a few guys and probably gonna be some guys in the transfer portal, of course. So I'm excited to see new family we built.
Right. Yeah, you get some
Yeah.
new recruits in, some freshmen.
Hmm.
You get some new guys from the portal, and
Yeah.
yeah, start just grinding and working towards that goal. Go Pirates, right?
Yeah. Go Pirates for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So why don't we end the episode like non-basketball? Like what are your hobbies when you're just hanging out, when you're not putting up shots, when you're not working in the off season? Like what are you doing for fun?
I'm a pretty I think I'm a really random guy. Like I do like a bunch of random things. Uh all right, so one of the biggest things I do, I like to listen to music, like a lot of music. Like I feel like yesterday I was listening to music the entire day, like whether I was playing basketball or just in the car, like or just at home. Um like I listen to so much music. I like to listen to almost every genre. I just haven't got into the country music, but almost every other genre. Uh, some R&B. I love R&B music. Some calmer music. For the soul, because I'm not trying to listen to aggressive hip hop all the time, which is big in this area. Especially when my teammates are always listening to this drill music or hard rap music. And sometimes I like some slow music, some calm love music. I like that. So I love listening to music. That's one big thing. And then besides that, on my free time, uh, I like watching YouTube. Randomly, just sit down and watch YouTube. But I'm not one of those guys who like has like guys I'm subscribed to, and I'm like I'm a big fan of this guy, and I always watch his videos. I'm kind of just random, like I said. I watch anything. Like one of the biggest things I've been watching is like catch and cook, or like they catch an animal, or like they hunt an animal,
Yeah.
and they show like the process that goes into eventually cooking it or catching fish. I love watching them catch fish and cook it right there, fresh fish. I don't know why, but I find it so satisfying. Like I'm a big fan of them catching like a salmon and just seeing them cook it right there. Uh, I watch YouTube videos of that. I watch YouTube videos, of last night I was watching like David Blaine magic tricks on YouTube. Like I was watching those for like a good hour. Just like he's insane. He has like frogs coming out of his mouth, and yeah, yeah. I don't know how to describe it, but I watch YouTube. Um, and then besides that, I'm a pretty chilled like dude. I don't really do much. I like to lay down in the house and throw on a movie, and I'll probably not even finish the movie because I'll fall asleep. But I'll just put it on and just sit there and just be in company with, family and people I love is just that's my favorite thing to do. I'm just pretty calm. I don't really do that much.
Yeah.
Actually, I
So
will add one more thing. In the summertime, I just like to go to New York City and just go around. Cause I'm right there. I live in North Bergen, which is right by like the Lincoln Tunnel is how I explain it to people, which is like the
yeah.
tunnel that goes into New York City. Um, so I like to just go either through Lincoln Tunnel, but I don't have to. I could also just go on the bus or through the ferry with my bike, and I just go to the city, and I just have no plans. I just like to bike, just it's real adventurous. I just do random things. I just don't set nothing in the phone, no GPS, no nothing. I just like to bike around the city, just go around. And New York City's so special because you can just see so much in such a short amount of time without even doing much. So, yeah, those are the things I do in my free time. Those are my hobbies. And
Yeah.
yeah. What about you?
This is my biggest hobby, the podcast. I I spend so many hours every night. Like if I'm not editing it, I'm on I'm on, Instagram or LinkedIn sending messages looking for like guests. I'm researching, like I don't know, the podcast is my biggest hobby, but like I've been trying to get back into the gym. I'm going to start working out more, just shooting hoops. But like I refed high school football and basketball this year for the first time. So like in the winter, that was my life. It was like 5 nights a week, doing 2 to 3 games a night. You're just that I didn't have any time for for anything else. But I feel like I'm very similar. Like I like to lay low, like you said. I love to just put some music on. And like you said, I like some calm music sometimes. Like if I'm working out, like yeah, I want something aggressive to get
Hmm.
me going. But when I'm at home, like unless I'm angry or something, like I want some calm, relaxing music. Just kind of vibe on the couch. Um, I like going for walks. Like I don't know, my wife and I, we just we try to go for like unless the weather sucks, we just go for a walk. And like I love just going for a walk. And last year we got into tennis. I'm not good at all. I'm terrible, but it's fun. It's fun. So yeah, I mean, I'm a big concert guy. Like when the summer rolls
Mm.
around, I'm always trying to go to a concert. I love live music. I feel like it's just a totally different vibe. Obviously I love chilling at home listening to music, but I love going to a concert and like I don't know, it's a lot of fun.
What kind of music you like? I know we're from very different areas, so it might vary. It might vary a lot, but I'm trying to see if
I
I.
I'm all over the place, man. Like I'm kind of with you. I'm not on the country trend. I like old country. Like I actually like really
Mm,
vibe with like 60s to 90s country, but I can't stand anything newer.
mm,
Um my biggest genre would probably be like rock and metal. Um,
mm,
honestly, I like I like a lot of older stuff too. Like, um, my favorite artists are probably one that most people our age have never heard of. Um, I've never been a huge rap guy, but I've got specific artists. Like I really like Pop Smoke. I love
got you.
his music.
Yeah.
Um, so like, he's my go-to. Like I mean I've got other random stuff. Like I've got my rap playlist, I got my rock playlist. Like I've got a playlist kind of for each genre, but it really just depends on my mood. Like honest, sometimes I will like be all in on um like I'm a big Game of Thrones guy. So like the
Mm,
instrumental music from Game of Thrones, like film scores and like classical music, like
mm.
sometimes that's the vibe. So like it really depends on the day. I'm all over the place.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's unique. That's really unique, actually. Like the Game of Thrones instrumentals, like that's something you don't hear that often, and that's fire. Honestly, that's something cool. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, that's
that
fire.
that guy was my like number one listened to artist last year on my Spotify
Oh
Wrapped.
wow,
It was the composer for Game of Thrones. I was
that's
like,
awesome.
man, that's random.
It's random, but that's something really cool. Like I have a few instrumentals in my playlist too. Like I just have them. I don't know what they're from though, so I don't know like if they're from a movie or show or anything. But I
Yeah,
like to play instrumentals so I can sleep, especially on like plane flights during the season. Like do that. But yeah, Pop Smoke too. That's a really unique. He's the most unique voice out here. Not everybody's trying to copy his voice. Rest in peace to Pop Smoke.
yeah.
But
No,
yeah,
he's
that's yeah, it's another unique one. Have you ever been to New York? It's
nope, never. No, I
you gotta go
I
to
don't
New
know.
York.
Yeah, well, I've been to Chicago, a bunch of times because
Oh
like
yeah,
being in Michigan, it's not that bad. You just
not
shoot
that far.
down.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, no, never been to New York. Add that to the bucket list. I talk about it with people. Like, there's so many places I want to go in the world. I feel like I'll never have time to get to all of them. Like
Yeah.
I don't know. There's just not enough time or money. I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's why we work hard. So,
Yeah,
we'll be working for it at least. We're trying to get there.
yeah. I'm just looking at my. Then I know you said like obviously like hip hop and rap and stuff's more popular. Like I'm looking at my rap playlist, and I got a lot of
Mm.
old Lil Yachty. Like I don't like new Lil
Okay.
Yachty, but I like older Lil Yachty.
Uh-huh.
Um,
I like Lil Yachty too.
I got a lot of Post Malone. Um, so Jack Harlow, Pop Smoke. Um, and then like I don't know if it's even rap, but like I guess it's rap, but it's different. Like Afro Man, like um,
Mm.
it's
I've heard of
obviously
it.
it's a different vibe. Like there's like the song "Because I Got High." I mean, I feel like you've heard
I've
that
probably
one,
heard of it. I don't
or
know by name, but
Colt 45. I'm sure you've heard them, but
mm.
it's not like I don't know, it's rap, but it's a different vibe. Do you know the Rapper's Delight, the Sugar Hill Gang? You know that song, Rapper's Delight?
I don't. Huh.
You'll have to look it up because that's
I
like
should. Yeah.
I feel like that's from like um the 70s or something. I was gonna say
Mm.
is the Afro Man, some of his music, it gives me that same vibe
Mm.
as like Rapper's Delight. It's 1979. So that's some old rap.
Mm.
that's
Yeah.
that's the
Real old rap.
beginnings.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
that's back to the it's good stuff though. Good stuff.
Yeah. That's what's up? Yeah. The
That
Lil
that's
Yachty
my
stuff. I'm actually the opposite of you with the Lil Yachty stuff. I feel like I'm liking him more recently. I don't know why, but like I like some of his old music. I'm actually starting to like his new stuff too, because I feel like his style is a little different. But Lil Yachty's definitely up there. I like him a lot too. He's good.
Yeah,
Uh,
he's always been one of my
Lil,
favorites.
yeah,
Like
Lil Yachty's tough.
Yacht Club, Talk to Me
Mm.
Nice, 66 Flex. Um and then like some of his songs, honestly, I think they're just kind of funny, like Minnesota. Like I don't know,
Yeah,
that song it just kind of cracks
yeah.
me cracks me up.
Man,
But
he was just having fun. He was just having fun in the studio, just messing around,
yeah,
trolling.
and then you
That's
can't go
fire.
wrong with Snoop Dogg or Dr. Dre or
Yeah.
DMX, Lil Jon. I mean that's all good stuff. Mac Miller, can't
Mm.
can't go wrong with any of that stuff.
Yeah, some good stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, there's somebody gotta get some music suggestions from us there. Hey, somebody's got something they can listen to,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
right?
for sure.
Awesome.
We just gave out some gems.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, David, I appreciate you hopping on the podcast and just hashing it up. It was a good time.
I appreciate you for having me. Whenever you want to have me back, just hit me up. I'm down.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Thanks for listening. Please stay tuned for more episodes soon.